right. So, hello everyone. This is Vibe with Viv. That's for Vision, Inspiration, Believe in Empowerment. Welcome again to another session. Today, I'm welcome to have Alex. He's another relationship coach, and we're going to be diving into some questions that have been pressing on women's mind when it comes to relationships and finding love and healing. As you already know, I work with women who are, trying to heal after going through a breakup, regaining their self-worth, forgiveness, and just come to terms with who they are again after not being in a relationship. So today we're going to be discussing some topics on the man's perspective when it comes to finding love and healing, and how that may help some women who are trying to navigate these things as well. And I am here with Alex. I'll let you introduce yourself, Alex.
Yes, hello. My name is Alexander Young. I'm originally from Chicago, Illinois. I live out here in Fort Campbell, Kentucky. Yes, I'm a veteran. And, I'm a relationship coach by passion because I figured that relationships need to get back to the basics of knowing what it means to have a solid foundation. So basically, I like to help relationships be fulfilled and people fulfill their vision for the relationship. So that's one of my main goals.
And just kind of rounding up here on this one here, how can a woman effectively communicate with her man without making him feel disrespected? So a lot of the times we hear that when women, try to correct, the woman is nagging or controlling, and then the person feels disrespected. How can we curb that, where we can communicate, and pass on these messages that are important to us, but without making the man feel like he's being disrespected or being naggy?
I'm going to say this. All right. The first time I went to Pennsylvania and I was with Evelyn, we had came back from church. Evelyn pulled me to a side and she had said, honey, and this is like our first time being together. When I first went up there, she said, hey, your breath was kind of foul, bad. Okay. So she took me to this place so I could get some more tooth. We went to the store to get some more toothpaste so I could brush my teeth some more and then get some gum. But after that, I grew from that. So one of the biggest things is if when you give correction is on how you give it. And then two, is a man able to receive correction? Because you got some egotistical men who gonna feel that how you gonna correct me? One thing is don't try to correct him in front of your family or your friends. That is a big mistake to do. Now wait till you get alone with him and don't communicate through text. Do not communicate through text, because if you communicate through text, you, you need to learn how to talk to him. And if you're going to correct, make sure if you're going to correct them, it's how you say it. Because most of the biggest times, we need to understand that there's two things we need to understand about communication. It's not just the lack of communication, but it can be the lack of honest communication and a lack of comprehension. How you tell him, correct him on whatever he did wrong or feel he was wrong, you tell him. Because you don't have to agree and that's a good thing, because some men don't want to be corrected. Some women don't want to be corrected neither, but at the same time, at some point, there's going to have to be some accountability right there. Because correction also shows how much somebody really loves you. Because if somebody that holds you accountable loves you more than somebody that's just going to watch you and be mediocre and do the same thing over and over again. You know, We all, you know how we always talk about, we have a loving God and a just God. Yes, we do. He's also a chastising God because he loves those who he chasing. And because one thing you have to know is the investment that he placed in you. See, don't look at everybody else that think they're getting away with stuff like that. But when you're getting chastised, because the investment that's in you. So if you're able to receive that correction, you'll be able to move better. But you want to be able to receive it, but you don't want, but she has to come off not being mean and nagging about it. And at some point, and also too, he has to want to listen. He has to want to listen. Because you got guys that don't want to listen. You can't always be right. And sometimes it's not about you always wanting to be right. But if something has to be corrected, it's okay to address it. Because if you don't correct it, if you just sweep it under the rug because you don't feel that way, you just organize a mess because it's still going to be there. I had somebody once told me, I had told somebody something and they had told me, well, Alex, how am I supposed to know to do it? How am I supposed to know that if you never told me? See, because what happens is people going to feel they can do certain things to you based off of what I say or how I do it. And at the same time, if you don't tell me, I can't change my behavior. Somebody once told me that. So at the same time, if you don't address it, at the same time, how they supposed to correct to change their behavior that you're not. But how you tell them, is one thing.
That's good. So I kind of pulled a few things out of that I think it's good to just kind of talk a little bit more about. So you mentioned how we say the message, doing it behind closed doors, privately, and just being real in a loving and kind manner where we are passing the message. And also for the man to understand that when we present that to you, it's because we love you. It's because we care. We wouldn't bring things up if we didn't want you to grow, to get better. We're doing it out of a place of love. So ladies, doing it in a manner where it's, getting to their level, doing it privately where they're not feeling embarrassed in front of their own loved ones. And then for that man to also realize that we're doing it out of a place of love and not because we just want to be naggy and talk all we want, but no, we want you to grow and to get better. So that needs to be added in that conversation too. Like, hey, I'm bringing this up because I care about you and I want us to grow or, to blah, 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 whatever that may be. And the other thing is that the man can have some ego in them. So you may be doing and saying all the right things, but if this man is egocentric, they will always feel disrespected because to their mind, they would think, who are you to be telling me, I'm doing this wrong? They always need to be right. So if you're dealing with someone who is more egocentric, now that's a completely different scenario in itself.
Yeah.
You need wise counsel where maybe you need to go see a therapist because that can sometimes be beyond what you can handle if you are presenting things in the way that is correct, because now it's not an issue on your end. It's more on the man and him thinking that, he knows it all and he's always right and it's egocentric. That's a different issue in itself.
Yes.
I wanted to make that distinguish that, when you're presented things in that right manner and it's still being come across as disrespectful, sometimes it's not you, sometimes it's the man and the ego that they may have. And those walls need to be brought down. And if you need to seek outside counsel for that, seek that, because sometimes it's beyond the woman, it's beyond what we can change in that man. They have to want to change that for themselves. And for that to happen, they need to love themselves enough to realize that, and then to want to change and be receptive to that and listen to you. So it's a process.
Yes.
Yeah, so that was just a couple of things I wanted to pull out and just add on to that. That was good. I really appreciate you. This was awesome. This was great. This was
Yes, ma'am.
there was a lot of nuggets that were taken out of this, and I believe that a lot of people will apply into their lives. What are some last advice you would give, let's say, for someone who's trying to find love, or so a woman who's trying to heal? What's a last advice you would kind of give on one of those two ends?
Well, on those two ends, I would say go back to my backtrack healing method, the thought process. To move on, look back towards the breakup. Look at the breakup to see if it was preventable, and what can I do to change that it won't happen again. And then you go back to the cause. You go back to the cause, the root cause of the breakup, which means a person has to have self-reflection, a self-evaluation of their actions, and also look at the other person's actions of what they did, what led to the breakup. And as I said, is if you get this book right here is a good read. It's called God is a Behaviorist, Status, Marriage, in a Relationship by Shona M. Dennis. It is a good read. It'll teach you about vulnerability, self-awareness, self-awakening, and self-accountability. Because when you're finding love, there's two things you want to look at. Before you move on, are you going to build a wall or are you going to build a shield? A shield is going to protect you in the areas, but you'll know how to let down your shield to some friendly people. But when you put up a wall, you won't know who's friendly or who's enemy because you're busy, you got a brick wall. And most of the time, you hear this saying that there's a shortage of good men. A lot of women say, but at the same time, you got this brick wall up, which is called standards, in which you don't really have a standard for yourself because you got this brick wall, and it's gonna take you. It's gonna take you brick by brick because you don't get to see. With your shield, you can let down to see, but with this wall, you're not gonna see. You're just not making yourself accessible to finding love. You're just making yourself more, you're making yourself more introverted that you can be blocking your own blessing from a good man because your past hurt, you are still drowning in your own past hurt. And you throwing a pity party. And you think that no man can ever love you the right way. I can be honest, I was that way before. I was that way before. And right now, I can honestly say I thank God for where I am now and who I am with right now. And though we have our ups and downs, what relationship doesn't? But the first thing you need to know is when you get into a relationship, why is it that you get to a relationship? And understand that if you're going to be in a relationship, cultivate it. If you're going to move on, don't compare your future to your past. Because the only thing you're going to do is bring salt from the past. And then when salt comes onto your relationship, you'll have that salt from your past. You'll have that old rusty salt, and you putting on more new salt. And you ain't gonna ever find the sugar that you're looking for.
That's good. Thank you. And I appreciate you again for coming on and your time.
I think
Where can
having me.
people find you if they wanted to connect with you?
You could find me on Facebook at Alexander Young. You can reach out to me. I'm on Instagram, Alexander Young 163 9461. I'm on. Also, you can email me at alexmyoung55 at gmail. That's how you're able to find me.
Awesome, wonderful. And again, anyone watching this, if you are in need of, getting that coaching, whether it's in finding love, healing, definitely hit either I or Alex up. We would be happy to serve you and just to be real and work with you in whatever situation you may be going through. And again, Vibe with Viv Tribe, thank you again for coming on. That's for vision, inspiration, belief, and empowerment. And I hope that through watching this video, you've been encouraged, empowered, and given some steps that you can apply into your life when it comes to finding love and in healing. any thoughts on the video that on the topics we talked about today, leave a comment below. I would like to hear what your thoughts are. And until next time, we'll see you soon.